It's our turn, episode number 108, Gaming on the Go. In this episode, Sarah and I talk about the games we've played recently, and then we delve into our favorite board game apps.
This is the Dice Tower Network, adding games to your wish list since 2005.
Hosting for this episode is generously provided by our fantastic supporters on Patreon.com. If you'd like to help us out by pledging $1 per month or more, please visit patreon.com/OurTurnPodcast. Every dollar helps us to keep this show going strong. Hi, and welcome back to Our Turn. I'm Cathy Ford.
And I'm Sarah Reed.
Hi, Sarah.
Hey, how's it going?
Not too bad, not too bad. It's been a couple of months, I think, since we've last chatted.
Yeah, it has been some time. Life's been busy, a couple of curveballs, but some good stuff too.
Yep, I've had a couple of curveballs here too, but gaming continues.
Yes, it does.
All right, so let's start off like we normally do and talk about what we've been playing lately. What have you gotten to the table?
Well, I got a game in the mail called Tricky Kitty. It is a cute little light, casual, trick-taking style game, and I wanted to teach it to my coworkers, and of course, none of them have played any trick-taking games, and one of my, I have to admit, minor pet peeves with trick-taking games is the terminology, because it always uses all this terminology, and it's never well defined.
Yep.
But thankfully, this was simple enough to use more simple language, so my coworkers were able to understand it, and they did enjoy it. This is from designer Joe Hout from Beluga Bliss Games, and it just came out. They did a Kickstarter last year. So the thing about this and why it's very much on the casual side is it only has numbers. There's no suits, and usually in trick-taking games, you use suits and numbers to play the game.
Uh-huh.
But in this one, it's just numbered 1 through, I want to say 49. So, like most of them, there's a start player, and that person plays a card, and of course, everyone else plays a card. And I told my coworkers that was a turn, trying to get them to, understand what a trick was without using the term trick. So I said, that's a turn. And once everybody's played one card, you see who has the highest, and they take all those cards. Now, what makes this tricky and about kitties is each card has 0 to, I think, 5 kitty paw prints in the little upper corner, as well as kitties printed in the main part of it, so for the artwork. Those are your points at the end of the round. Everybody gets 7 cards, so you're going to play 7 turns, or tricks, if you understand trick-taking terminology. And at the end of a round, you will count up how many kitties you've collected. What's tricky about this is you don't want to be the one who has the most kitties. Because if you are, you have too many kitties. And you get this cute little card that has cats all over it. And you only get 1 point for the round. And this can be substantial because I've had some people get like up to 13 kitties, but if someone else got 14 kitties, that person goes from 14 points down to 1.
Oh, wow.
So this can be pretty major. So you play 3 rounds. No, it's not 3 rounds. You play rounds until someone gets to 25 points. The thing that's really interesting is once you've won a turn, there's a card in the middle that says highest or lowest, and you get to choose whether you want the highest card to win or the lowest card to win. So as you play, who wins a turn is going to change depending on what people choose to have that face up. So there is a little bit of, I don't want to say strategy, but tactics to it, because if you've got a lot of low cards and you can win a turn, then you're going to want to flip that over. Maybe, but you have to make sure you're not getting too many cats. So you might leave it as highest wins and play some of your low cards so you don't win all those kitties. So it's cute. There's a couple little nuances. There's a cat catcher, which is worth -7 points or 7 kitties, which can be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on, if you're getting too many kitties, you kind of want that card to bring yourself down. Then the 13th card, when played, flips the middle card over. So if like high was winning, then now low is winning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that adds some interesting elements. But I have to say, I've tried a few other trick-taking games with my coworkers that were not so successful. Ladder 29 was the only way I could play Ladder 29 with them was to take out those restriction cards and play it as just a straight ladder trick-taking game. And
Okay.
in that case, you've just got fancy artwork because it's just basic deck of cards. That one kind of was okay, but they didn't get all the bells and whistles with that game. So I do like that it went over with them. I would say, though, in general, it was still kind of oh, that's cute. But with my coworkers, since they're mostly trying to just relax on a Friday at lunch, it was a good reaction to say, oh, that's cute. I have at least 3 of them that absolutely love cats. So there's these little cards that have different kitties on them, and it says my name is and has a line, and you can write on it. These are made from the Game Crafter with their glossy coating, so you can write on it with a dry erase pen and then wipe it off. So they always, yeah, it's really cute. So they always fight over which little kitty they get as their kitty, and it's really just the on the other side has the turn order reminder kind of thing. So there's a lot of cute little components. This was a 100 make 100 on Kickstarter, so it's a very limited edition type thing. But I do believe, I probably should have checked this before, that he put a normal edition up on the Game Crafter, so it's still available, just not this particular version, I think. So yeah, I give it a 3. It's really decent. It's fun. It's casual. It's going to stay in my collection at work, especially since I think it plays up to... Oh, I really should have checked this. I think it plays up to 6, which is great with my group because it keeps growing. So it's definitely an interesting one to check out.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So it's interesting that you came up with that one because I too have been playing kitten games lately.
Gee, it seems to be a popular theme.
I know it. My games aren't so nice to kittens, though. The first one I'm going to talk about is called Kittens in a Blender.
I'd rather play with tricky kitties than kittens in a blender, so okay. As a concept.
So, we played this game. We did a booth out at a farmer's market, and we were out there all day long. And at one point, my friend Kim, hi Kim, said, hey, you want to play Kittens in a Blender? And I'm like, do we have to?
Good reaction.
And she was all, yeah. And so we did. Okay. And it's a cute little game. Basically, you take the box bottom and you put it on the left, and you take the box top and you put it on the right, and then there's a space in between. And there's a card that says Blender, and there's a card that says Safe. You have a hand of kittens, and you are playing them either into the safe zone, the spot in between, or into the blender. I don't know why blender. I don't know. I didn't design the game. I didn't even pick the game.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so if anybody plays the blender card, you can either turn on the blender or empty the blender at your choice. So you can take the kittens out of the blender so they don't get blended. If they get blended, you take all the kittens and you put them under the blender, and they're there, and those are negative points. If you play them into the safe area and someone plays, you can play when the blender card gets played, then all the cats that are on top of the safe card go under the safe card, and those are positive points. And everybody's got their own color of kitties. Mm-hmm. And anybody that's in the middle, I think when the blender card gets played, after the blender's emptied, they go into the blender, and then you have to try and save them from getting blended.
Okay.
So anyway, there are also cards that are movement cards. So you can, if you can move a cat one space, you can move them out of the blender and into the middle, or you can move them out of the middle and into the safe, or out of the safe and into the middle. And then there are movement 2 cards. So you can move them from the blender to the safe, or from the safe to the blender. Anyway, it's a dopey little game.
It kind of sounds like it.
Yeah. I give it a 3. It was funny and fun to play once.
Yeah.
I'm not too thrilled with the theme.
Yeah.
Because I don't like the idea of blending kittens. The artwork was cute.
Mm-hmm.
They wasn't disgusting or gross or anything like that.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the gross concept. So, it's a cute little game. It's fun to play once or twice, but
That's about
won't
it.
be joining my collection anytime soon.
Well, they saved you some money there.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I was in danger of spending money on that particular game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Kittens in a Blender. It was designed by Brent and Brian Knudsen and published by Closet Nerd Games and came out in 2011. So it's been out for a while.
Yeah. I've heard of it. I can't say it's ever crossed my radar enough for me to see it. Like, I'm still wondering, how do you win the game? I mean, are you trying to get your cats in the safe?
You're basically, kittens in the blender are negative points. Mm-hmm. Kittens in the safe area are positive points. Person with the highest points at the end of, I think, 3 rounds wins.
Gotcha. Okay.
A round ends when everybody runs out of cards.
Okay. Yeah. Seems pretty standard. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's Kittens in a Blender.
Okay. Well, I'm going to take a little break from kittens for a moment, which is probably a good thing at this point.
My next game isn't very nice to kittens either.
Ooh. All right. Well, not that people are probably very hungry now, but the most recent game I played was Sushi Roll, which is the new dice version of Sushi Go.
Oh, okay. I was wondering about that.
Yep. I was very excited and looking forward to this because it's really difficult for Will to play Sushi Go. Any closed drafting game is difficult with Will's vision because most of the time, well, he literally can't see the cards well enough to differentiate. So when we do play a closed drafting game, what ends up happening is everybody else chooses their card or whatever the choice is. And then I read Will his choices, so he makes his choice last so it doesn't impact everybody else. The downside is that takes more time because it defeats the whole simultaneous play that is in most drafting games. I wouldn't say all drafting games, but one of the key features.
So for example, Seven Wonders is not one of his games.
Right. The only way we've managed to play Seven Wonders, and again, it takes a little more time, is we do play online. So we have our friends in Ohio that we play our iGame nights every Wednesday. And we have done a couple of games. I forgot which platform has. It's either Board Game Arena or Yucata. I can't remember which. So we will play Seven Wonders that way. But again, it comes down to everybody else makes their decisions. And then I help Will with his decision. Mm-hmm. So we've only done it a couple times. So the cool thing I was looking forward to with this is with dice, and from everything I could see ahead of time, it's all open information. And that is exactly true. The other thing that it takes away is that simultaneous play, but I find that I like it a little bit more because it feels like there's a little bit more player interaction. There's a bit more tactical play. So, and it has really good components. So again, everything's on the dice. And so they've distributed all the same concepts onto the dice, except they added menus and they changed how chopsticks works. Otherwise, the Maki rolls and everything else, how it scores is the same. So everybody gets a certain number of dice depending on the number of players, and you get a board that shows all the sides of the dice, so you know all the distribution of sides on the dice, and you have a little area at the top for your saved dice. But you also get this separate piece that is a conveyor belt. So it plays on the idea of the restaurants that have sushi on conveyor belts, which I have to admit I've never seen, but I've seen pictures of it. And so you roll all your dice and you put them on the conveyor belt. The first player will select a die and put it on their main board. And then it goes around the table and everybody does the same thing. Then you slide the conveyor belt to the left. Everybody picks up those dice, rolls them again, and you go through the same drafting process. So the cool thing is what you're getting from somebody else is certain dice, but not certain sides. So the tactical part has changed a bit so that when everyone first rolls their dice, they're like, oh, there's no sashimi showing, but there's 4 of those dice out. There's still a possibility that you will get it because you re-roll at the beginning of your turn. Now, how chopsticks work is you get to exchange one of the dice on your conveyor belt with a die from somebody else. So that's why it has to be in player turn order rather than simultaneous. Is if, I'm going to swap dice. That means you can't make a decision at the same time. And I find that really interesting because people use it either to, I need that side right now, or I'm going to swap with the person to my right so that I make sure that I get a certain die coming towards me. So if I'm going for Maki rolls and the conveyor belt coming at me has none of that dice, but I have an extra one on my conveyor belt, I can use the chopstick to swap and put the Maki roll over there. So that's really cool. And then the menu, how that works is you get to re-roll any of the dice that you have on your conveyor belt. And the chopsticks and the menu are on one of the sides of the dice with the thing that multiplies the nigiri rolls times 3. Totally forgetting what that is at the moment.
I've only played Sushi Go a couple of times, so I don't.
You don't remember? It's okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, so it's really a lot of fun. I will say it definitely places more emphasis on having the chopsticks and the menus throughout the game so that you can manipulate things. So far, I've only played twice, but the 2 people that have won are those who managed to get extra chopsticks and menus early on and not waste, I wouldn't say waste, not use them up early. Because in those last rounds, you really need to be able to manipulate things to go your way. So it definitely changes the tactical nature of it. And for me, it allows Will to enjoy the game since it's all open information. So I think people who like Sushi Go would love Sushi Roll too. I think there's room for both in your collection. I can't say that I like Sushi Roll better than Sushi Go, but for playing with Will, it's better. But like my coworkers like Sushi Go, I probably wouldn't confuse them by introducing Sushi Roll because then they'd get the 2 mixed up. But I think for gamers, if you have both it in your library, it adds that variety. Do you want to play cards? Do you want to play dice? They're both still really good. So I give this a 4. Sushi Roll is designed by Phil Walker Harding and published by Gamewright. Just came out just about the beginning of May.
Did it come in a tin?
No, I'm actually kind of glad. I'm actually really glad Gamewright is going away from the tins because they don't stack well. What I'm not liking is Gamewright is going towards larger boxes than needed so that they look big on the shelves in stores. So I have a small gripe there, so I guess I still have a gripe with their boxes. It's just, it went from unstackable tins to this box is too big for this game.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
I suppose having a box that's too big for the game is better than having a box that's too small for the game.
I agree. I agree with that.
Okay. All right. All right. So that's Sushi Roll.
Yes.
All right. My last game that I'm going to talk about is called Exploding Kittens.
Well, we went from blenders to exploding.
Yes. This is a cute little game that if you don't put the deck together right at the beginning, it overstays its welcome. Have you ever played this one? Yeah, we backed
the Kickstarter and we played it for a while and now we got rid of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Anyway, it's a cute game the first time again. It's got some jokes that some people are going to get and some people aren't. The artwork's cute. It's a cute family-friendly little game. Kids would get a big kick out of it. Basically, though, you're trying not to get exploding kittens. Because if you have exploding kittens, then you lose. And it is I played it 2-player. Is it a 2-player only game?
It goes up.
Does it? Okay. Yeah, that's right. It does.
I think to 4.
My friend Jennifer brought it to a Your Turn event, which was really cool to see her at one of those because she's a friend from Toastmasters, not a gaming friend. And, but she came to the event because I talked about it on Facebook and she brought Exploding Kittens. And, oh, hi, Jennifer. And, anyway, it was a cute game. We sat down and we both were learning it simultaneously. She brought it because she wanted someone to teach it to her. And there are certain cards that you have to play them in pairs in order to take effect. But then you can do things like steal a random card from your opponent, or your opponent has to give you a card of their choice. Things like that. Or they give you special player powers. And I don't know if it's unfortunate or not, but I don't own a copy, so I don't have one here in front of me to go over what all the cards are. But the art is cute. The game is cute to play once or twice. I'm sure it would be really fun to play with the younger kids, between like 8 and 12. Teenagers might get a kick out of this too. I personally give it a 3. I might get this game to play with Walker Lynn when she gets a little bit older, because I think she might find it funny. But
yeah,
is it one I'm going to go out and buy and keep in my collection until then? No.
Yeah, really. Just a little bit of backstory. All the artwork and the whole thing was created by the Oatmeal, which is a popular, I don't know what you'd call it, webcomic. Satirical.
Isn't it satirical?
So yes, I would agree. The base game is great for a lighter casual audience, but I do want to point out there is a not safe for work version because when we backed, we bought the deluxe everything. So it had the not safe for work deck as well as the base one. And they even made it really special for Kickstarter backers because when you opened it, a cat sound came out, a cat meowed as you opened this, what do you call it? Magnetic type box. So, it was definitely, it is definitely one of those cute games. I think tonight, other than Sushi Roll, has definitely been that's the theme for our recording is cute, light social games. So it's good to have around for a little while, or I suppose if you're playing it with kids can endure repetition a little bit more, or if you're drinking, I know a lot of people that play it while drinking because Exploding Kittens is basically how long can you last before someone else explodes or you do, because there's no strategy. You're basically just reacting to everything that's happening and hoping you screw over someone else before you get screwed over. But eventually it's just, when does luck run out for you? Basically, they have made several little expansion packs of more cards because in a game like this it could get stagnant, so new mechanisms and new art is probably a good thing. So yeah, that's about all I have to say. It is a cute casual play it a little bit and then you're done type of game.
Yeah. We actually put in too many of the cards that mitigate the explosions.
You have to be careful on that, yeah.
And so we were reshuffling the deck over and over and over and over again. We're finally like, okay, something's not right here. And so then we looked at the rules and we realized, we put in too many of these cards for just a two-player game. So then we restacked the deck and reshuffled it and tried it again, and it was better the second time around. And then we moved on to something else. But yeah, it was a cute game. I give it a 3. There's a definite game there. It's definitely amusing. It's quick when you stack the deck right. And that's exploding kittens. So, my games have been catastrophic tonight.
Yes, that is one way to put it.
And that's what we've been playing. We have set up and been referring to and rating games by our own rating scale. Here's how we are using this scale. 5. Buy this now. 4. A good solid game. 3. Decent with some bugs. 2. Has great potential as kindling. And 1. Give me back the time I spent playing it. So for today's hot topic, we are talking about one of Sarah's favorite topics, board game apps.
Yep, I play a lot of board game apps.
It's amazing how many board games are being converted into apps in general and also into PC programs. But today we're mostly concentrating on board game or apps on the phone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, mostly. I don't play on my computer. I'm hardly home enough to do that. But I think it's exciting that there are board games on the, what do you call that? The Switch now. And on the PC in Steam. And, apps on phones, whether you got iOS or Android, have been on for quite a few years now. And it's just, it's a great way to feed a hobby when our lives are so busy. And we're always on the go. And then there's like, well, I've got to wait, or I've got to commute, or things like that. And it's like
standing in line at the grocery store.
Exactly. And so many of the apps, I would say a lot of them have asynchronous play. So you can set up a game with a real life person, take your turn, and then it's their turn, and you go back and forth whenever you have time. Or you can just play against the, AIs, or some of them are doing some really fun, more campaign styles to explore the world of the board game in a different way that would not be possible in the physical board game.
Yep. One of the ones that I'm going to be talking about does that. Yep.
Yeah.
So what is your first game that you're going to talk about?
Lanterns.
That's a beautiful one.
Exactly. It comes down to, this is a game I play when I need to just de-stress, kind of zen out, because I will tell you, I will play most of my board game apps on complete silence because usually I'm in the middle of something. I'm at work, I'm on the train, or whatever. This is one where if I'm having a stressful day at work, on my break, I will pull out my headphones, turn on the music and sound effects, and I will play Lanterns. It's just so beautiful. The music is relaxing. The sound effects just filter right in because you can hear the lantern hitting the water. And there's this little, I don't know how you explain it, this little sparkle sound. If a sparkle could have a sound, it's just so beautiful. It's so well implemented and it's just gorgeous. And it's interesting because Lanterns can be a pretty cutthroat game depending on the players, because you can do some denial and blockage and stuff. But when I play the apps, either by myself or when I'm playing with friends, it never feels that way. Granted, I haven't played the physical board game, because being a tile laying game, it's terrible for Will's vision.
Okay.
But little known fact, I play tested the prototype when it was flower arranging. That was a random happenstance. The designer, Chris, reached out to me. I don't even know how that happened. It was years ago. He's like, hey, I got this flower arranging tile game. Would you like to play test it? We're like, sure. So we play tested and we're like, really cool mechanisms. Flower arranging does not work whatsoever. So thankfully, they found a better theme. Anyways,
yes.
Yeah. So I love this app. I love the game, the gameplay. I love the gamification of it. So you get little achievements as you go through. When you finish a game, there's you needed to collect 5 red lanterns and beat 6 opponents or whatever it is. So it's got that little gamification of trophies and awards. And yeah, it's well done. The digital company is Dire Wolf Digital. They've done quite a few really good board game app implementations. The board game, of course, is from Renegade Games. So yeah, I give this 5 stars all around for the game and the app implementation of it.
Yeah, Lanterns is one of those games that it is very zen, whether you're playing the app or the board game.
Oh, that's good.
It's a fun game. I've played the board game. I actually own a copy that I haven't pulled out and played yet. But we bought it at a flea market because I'd played it before and really enjoyed it, and I love the app. So, yeah, what's your rating?
5.
Okay, great. Fantastic. All right. The game I'm going to talk about is Istanbul. Istanbul is one of my favorite board games. And in this game, you are a merchant, and you have some apprentices that help you out. And you're basically in a race, though, to get 6 gems. And first player to get 6 gems wins. You have to earn the gems, and there are different ways to earn it. And I gotta say, the implementation of this as an app is perfect. Now, I can't speak to the sound effects and the music because I turn those off because I play it standing in line at the grocery store, and everybody kind of looks at you funny when you've got the sound effects on.
Yeah.
And especially, it's got a Middle Eastern theme, being Istanbul, and you don't want to raise anybody's ire with, anybody worrying about stereotypes or anything like that. It's meant to be like Middle Ages Istanbul kind of place. The art is perfect. It goes well. It duplicates what's on the game perfectly. You can randomize not only your opponents, but also the board, which goes along with the game perfectly. And it's fun to play. You can play an entire game in 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's a lot faster than the board game.
Yeah. The board game can take maybe about 45 minutes. And especially if you turn off the animations for the opponents.
Oh, yeah.
Then it just flies by. Anyway, but I give it a 5. It's really well done. And I know it's available on Android. I don't know about iOS.
It should be. Most of these are cross-platform now.
Yeah. But yeah, I love Istanbul. I give it a 5.
Yeah, I've played a couple. I do own it. I've played it a couple of times. I really need to play it more. I don't play the board game as much either, so it's one of those that I'm still grappling with the concepts of the game. Personally, I have trouble with the physicality of moving your people around on the board. I don't plan well so far. But I'm working on it. So yes, I also agree that it is a really well implemented game, and it definitely, the interface makes it really easy to play. So my next game would be Race for the Galaxy. And again, this is another just 5-star app because it makes the game, I hate to put it this way, so much easier to play because it turns everything into English. It takes away the iconography is still there, but you can just click on it. It pops up. There's the full English paragraph that explains exactly what that card tries to do. And I'm like,
now, this game for me, this and Roll for the Galaxy, they're ones.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they're good games. I know a lot of people like them. I don't get it.
Well, it's kind of hard to.
And so I haven't tried this game at all as an app because I don't like the board game versions. Mark plays this all the time. He loves it. Yeah,
no, it's one of those things that because there's so much iconography, it's another language to learn. And it's been one we've never gotten because, again, there's so much on the cards. I talked to Will about it, and he's like, I don't even want to deal with that. But with the app, now we can play it because, again, you just click on it, pops up. There's the English text on how exactly it works. There's so much more user-friendly help that I hate to put it, you kind of need to play the game. It's like, okay, you've got all these choices on what do I do for this round? And if you're unsure what any of them are, you just click on it and it pops up with, this is what this does. And so the interface of it is just, it's fantastic. It's, again, done by another really great company, Temple Gate Games. They're also a really good company that takes board games and makes them digital. So if you were, I would say give it a shot. But I totally also understand if you don't want to because it still got the more complicated, I wouldn't say complicated, it's somewhat complicated gameplay. The gameplay there is still quite a lot to think about in terms of both trying to get a strategy going and tactically responding to what your opponents are doing. So there is that. But for me, I've always been interested in it, and so this allowed me to finally experience the game and be able to more easily understand it than the physical version where you have to learn all the hieroglyphics.
Okay. Yeah, the first time I played it, one of the people that was teaching it to me told me it's sometimes called Race for the Confusing Symbols.
Yep, that would be very accurate.
And I'm wondering if that didn't color my perception of it a little bit.
Oh, probably. But
I've tried both games a couple of different times, and it's just, when I come in 7th out of 6 players.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with losing games. I lose games all the time, but when you feel beat down at the end of a game, it's just not fun.
No, definitely not.
But I'm glad to hear that the app is well implemented.
Yes, it is.
Fantastic. All right. My next game is another Middle Eastern market game. I hadn't even realized it when I put this on the show notes. But again, when we were doing that booth out at the farmer's market, my friend Kim, hi Kim, said, here, let me teach you Jaipur. And I'd heard of Jaipur. I'd never played it before. And I fell in love with it. In fact, I texted Mark and I said, we need to get Jaipur. And he goes, okay, I ordered it. And because he'd been interested in it too. And then when I got the physical copy of Jaipur, I opened it up and there's a sheet on the top of it that said, hey, we have a digital app. And I'm like, there's an app? Let me download that. And it has just become addictive. And in Jaipur, you are a merchant in a Middle Eastern market, and you are selling, you're trading 6 types of goods. There's diamonds, gold, and silver, and then silk and tea and leather.
Nice.
And so you're trading those types of goods. And with the leather, tea, and silk, you can trade one of those or multiples of those. With the gold, silver, and diamonds, you have to trade a minimum of 2 cards at a time,
right,
or more. If you turn in 3 cards or 4 cards or 5 cards of a type, so for example, 5 diamonds or 4 gold, or 4 tea for that matter, you get a bonus token that gives you extra points. And it's kind of random the number of points that you get with it. So you're trying to get those bonus points in order to get the most points, because the person with the most points at the end of the game wins. Game ends when either the deck of cards runs out or 3 of the tokens, there are tokens for each type of good, when 3 of the token types run out. The art on this is really good. Very colorful, very evocative of the types of goods that you're trading. Mark and I are both addicted to the physical game and the app. We love it. It's a wonderful 2-player game. It's a 2-player only game. This one does have a campaign mode in it.
Oh, wow.
So you can go around to different provinces in this country that you're playing in. I'm not even sure what country it is. And so there are different rules for each province, because their different markets have different rules. And you can also play it, the standard game, the tokens start out high and then they get lower as they get taken up. So, tea starts out at being worth 4 points, but then it's worth 3, and then it's worth 2, and then it's worth 1. The diamonds, gold, and silver are, I believe they're all standard. The diamonds are 7, the gold is 6, and the silver is 5. And then the others are variable. Anyway, then there is a version where you can play where everything is one price all the time.
Wow.
So, the diamonds are 7, the gold is 6, the silver is 5, but then the silk is 3, the tea is 2, and the leather is 1.
Right.
But it's that way for the whole game.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's got some options. It also has a play online version or option, and it also has a pass and play option.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool. We tried passing and playing it when we were watching our dogs play at the dog park.
Nice.
And it just turned out that the outside glare was just too much to play, because things, you couldn't tell if things were selected and stuff like that. But that was a result of trying to play outside in the sunshine, not an issue with the interface. The interface is fine. It plays really well. And you can play one of these games pretty quickly in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I have experience with Japer just like you with Race for the Galaxy, and that I have not had good experience with it. I played, again, I can't remember if it was Board Game Arena or Yucata. One of my friends was trying to teach me. We played about, 8 or 9 games. I lost them all. I just could.
Oh, no.
I was just like you with Race for the Galaxy. It just didn't work in my brain or something. I know, I have to admit, I never read the rules. She was explaining it to me, and I was reading like little tips that were there on the website. And maybe that was my problem. But that is one game that just I can't wrap my brain around for some bizarre reason.
Okay.
But that's otherwise, I'm with you on it. It looks like a great game, so I'm glad to hear that they did a good app implementation, and it's a very popular 2-player game.
Yes, it is. And it's a great 2-player game. Although, again, I don't think it would be in Will's wheelhouse because private information.
Yeah, that would make it difficult.
There's no open information. So, but I absolutely give the app a 5. I play it. If I used digital implementations for my 10 by 10, this in Istanbul would be done several times over. Yeah, I can easily play this 10 times in a couple of days.
Yeah.
So, but I don't do that for my 10 by 10. It has to be physical copies for mine. So
for me, I use digital, but then again, it's everybody gets to choose what they want to do.
Exactly.
So,
all right, what's next on yours?
A new one, Shards of Infinity. Now, the physical card game has been one I've been interested in for a long time because it's like a mashup of Star Realms and Ascension. And it's actually designed by, if I remember correctly, those two groups, I don't remember all the designers, unfortunately, kind of got together and made a mashup. So
okay.
You've got the life of Star Realms where you are trying to destroy your opponents. But it's got a bit of Ascension with some of the mechanisms. There are 4 factions and they feel a bit more Ascension than Star Realms. And you've got things like Unify, which is like, well, unite in Ascension. So, but then there's new stuff too. And I really like a lot of the new mechanisms they've added. So it's not just trying to beat down your opponent. That is one way to win. The other way to win is they introduce this concept called mastery. And you can raise your mastery level, and at certain levels, certain cards get better. So a lot of cards will be like, draw a card. If you are at mastery 10, you get to do this other thing, maybe do damage or whatever it is. So it's a really cool thing. And then if you get to mastery 30 and you get one of your starter cards, it's an infinity shard, I think, it does infinite damage at level 30, which basically means you kill all your opponents. So it's really interesting, and I like, it's been very addicting to me. I'm really enjoying the deck building, because that's what Ascension and Star Realms is. It's deck building. Mm-hmm. And I just find that really interesting that you start out with 2 different cards that get better over time as you level up your mastery. But you don't have to go for mastery. You could just go for a straight beatdown. The game does play 2 to 4. I'm mostly playing 2-player games with the app. I have 1 3-player game. It feels a bit like a slog because if you're dealing damage, you've got 2 choices. Do you do it all to one person? Do you split it? But there's another new concept called shields. You have cards in your hand, and if they have shields on it, when you get attacked, you reveal that card to block the damage based on the number of shields. So there's this level of risk. You don't know if somebody has shields in their hand unless you've been really good at paying attention to what cards they've been buying, which I admit I am not good at that. So it's interesting. I don't think I prefer it with 3, and I'm definitely not going to try 4 anytime soon. But as a 2-player game, I've got like 6 or 7 games going right now through, the asynchronous play, and I just think it's fantastic. This is another Temple Gate Games app development. I did get in on the second part of the beta and really had a lot of fun with it. And of course, now I'm playing it. Everything is just really well implemented. They've got a good tutorial. They've also got a PDF to the rules. And what I really like is they're constantly listening to customer feedback and trying to make the game better. I know there's an expansion that they're trying to work on getting into the game once it gets a little bit more stable. So this is another 5-star app for me. I just am absolutely having fun, and Will and I are playing it, pass and play. I just read everything to him because it's a deck builder. It's one of the reasons I think why we love deck builders. Most of the time when it's Will's turn, there's nothing I can do to affect him. So I read him his cards, he makes his decisions, and then it's my turn. So definitely really, really enjoyable. In fact, I think for me, this kind of replaced Ascension in terms of my 3rd favorite board game app was before this Ascension, but now it is Shards of Infinity.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I hadn't actually heard of Shards of Infinity.
Well, the card game is still relatively new. I think it's only 1 or 2 years old. The app just launched the beginning of May, so it's also really new. So yeah.
Mark really enjoys playing the Ascension app, and I know he's got a game or 2 going with friends. So I will let him know about this one. I'm sure he will enjoy it.
Yes, and if he is up for a game, he can let me know. And the other really cool thing I liked is they did an unlimited time way you could challenge, because most board game apps, when you have asynchronous play, they always have a time limit, even if like Ascension is like 28 days, which is plenty of time. But I just like now you can just set it as unlimited and you don't have to worry about it.
Okay, so when you get to it, you get to it.
Yeah, but honestly, most of the games I've finished within 4 or 5 days. It's still really short, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the final game that I'm going to talk about here is another one of those games that's very zen when you sit down and play it. It's a 2-player game called Onitama. And Onitama is a game that Mark and I really enjoy. It's a chess variant. Have you ever played it, Sarah?
I am trying to think. I do not believe so.
Okay.
Mostly because anything chess-like against Will, he's always going to win. So not a whole lot of point for me to play.
Well, maybe next time we get together,
Yes.
I'll bring it and you and I can try it.
Yes, I would like that.
All right. And anyway, in Onitama, you have only 5 pieces. You have 4 apprentices and a master. And your opponent has the same 5 pieces, 4 apprentices and a master. And what you're trying to do is capture your opponent's master or get your master to your opponent's master's seat.
Okay.
So you're trying to get your master to the other side.
Right.
And any piece can capture any piece. Mm-hmm. But the way that you're limited in movement is there are multiple movement cards included in the game, but you only you deal out 5 for a particular game.
Okay.
And so it can that's what randomizes it and makes it from being all samey. Mm-hmm. So you get 2 in front of you, your opponent gets 2 in front of you, and then 1 goes between you. You can only pick one of the 2 in front of you.
Okay.
And it dictates how you move. And they have names like the boar and the rabbit, and mm-hmm. They don't look like boars or rabbits or any other kind of animal for that matter, but that's what they're called.
Okay.
Anyway, and so the card dictates how you can move your piece. You can pick any piece mm-hmm. as long as it can legally do that movement, you can use it. And then you take that card, you put it in the middle, and you take the card from the middle and you put it in front of you. And you can see what your opponent has. Your opponent can see what you have, and you can both see what the middle card is.
Got it.
So you can kind of plan your moves a step or 2 ahead of time.
Right.
Based on there's only 2 possible moves that either of you can make at any given time.
Right.
The app implementation of this game is absolutely wonderful. It's got very zen music. And yet you still get the satisfaction of smashing your opponent when you take them out.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean it is a chess variant, so you're knocking pieces off the board. Not necessarily like wizard chess, but you do get the satisfaction of thump. You're out. But even with that little bit of confrontation, it's still a very zen game, mm-hmm. and I love it. It's one of those that when I need to relax, that's another one that you can just pull up and play. And
nice.
If I recall, I think it has a pass and play version to it.
Okay, cool.
But I don't think it has an online play component to it. You can play against the AI, or you can do a pass and play, I think. But I've only ever played it just me myself.
Yeah, okay.
So, most of the apps that I play is just me playing.
Hey,
against the AI.
Yeah, it's a great way. I do that a lot too. It's a great way to just relax, not have to worry about anything, because if you lose, you lost to a computer, whatever. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, and in one game, the cards or the moves or whatever can go your way, and then in the very next game, nope, nothing goes your way. The dice don't roll right, the cards don't come up right. Mm-hmm. Your opponent does some stupid, quick move, and you're going, "How did he do that?" Yeah. That happens to me quite a bit in Istanbul. That one of my favorite things to go after is to get a card that allows you to change the dice when you're gambling.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to pay cloth for that. Mm-hmm. Somehow the AI has figured out how to pay 2 cloth on the second move.
Interesting.
Or on the first move even. And I'm like, how did you do I'm almost convinced that AI occasionally cheats.
Ooh, that's not good.
Because occasionally he gets that card super fast when I am thinking I'm doing the fastest way to get to it. Mm-hmm. And I get there with my 2 cloth and now I have to pay 3 cloth, which means I have to go back to get more cloth.
Right.
And I have to expand my wagon. Anyway, I'm digressing, but anyway, these are all great games, and I'm excited to see what they do to expand people getting into the hobby.
Oh, yeah. Well, Ascension, the only reason we have the physical versions of Ascension is because I downloaded the app and started playing it and started buying the expansions on the app, and I was talking to Will about it. I was playing it with my friends in Ohio, and he and I played a couple of games on the app. And then he's like, you know what? Let's get this thing, because he still prefers most of the time playing the physical version over the app. Although for Shards of Infinity, there's a lot of bookkeeping in that game. I do not think I'd ever want to play the physical version of Shards, because you got mastery, life, the gems to buy stuff with, and then the damage that you're dealing. And that's a lot of numbers to keep track of. So I much prefer the app implementation, which actually brings me up to what I am looking forward to is Mystic Vale is coming out as an app June 6th. And that's another one of those games that I've always been interested in, but it's not visually accessible for Will because you're putting cards in these sleeves and it makes it hard to see. Even other people who don't have severe vision issues just have normal vision issues, poor eyesight, things like that, poor lighting, whatever, have difficulty reading it. So that's one where I was just like, that would be great as an app for at least to be able to experience it. And that's the great thing about apps is they don't cost you an arm and a leg. You get to try it, find out if you like it. And if you only so like it, well, you've got the app. You can keep just playing it. Or if you really like it and you want the physical version, you go out and get the physical version. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to Mystic Vale, finally get a chance to play that.
Nice. The one that I'm looking forward to coming out is actually in beta testing right now, and I couldn't get in on that, but is Terraforming Mars.
Yeah, I know a lot of people excited about that.
That is one of my favorite games of all time, and I can't wait for it to come out. I haven't played it on Steam. I just don't sit down and play games on the computer.
Yeah, me neither.
I've got too much else to do on the computer. Yeah. When I want to play a game, I want to get away from the computer.
Yep.
So I haven't tried the Steam version, but I am looking forward to it coming out on an app.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing, are they going to have online play?
Right.
Are they going to have just AI play? Because I would play it against an AI.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, Terraforming Mars is the one that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I haven't heard a release date, but if they're in beta now, it should be pretty soon, at least a month or so. So yeah.
Yep. All right. So what are your favorite board game apps? And what kind of different modes do they have to play them in? And, let us know. Sarah runs our Facebook group, which is facebook.com/OurTurnPodcast. And let us know in the Board Game Geek Guild if you frequent Board Game Geek. We're guild number 2600. Or reach out to me on Twitter at Our Turn Podcast. Thanks for joining me for this topic, Sarah.
Oh, yeah. Always love to talk about board game apps.
All right.
The Dice Tower Network is a proud supporter of the Jack Vassell Memorial Fund. The board gaming community is kind and generous, and this fund was created to provide financial assistance to members of the board gaming community in their time of need. To find out how you can help the fund continue to help others, please visit jackvassell.org/donate. Thank you for your support.
All right, so now we're at the part of the episode where we're winding things down and looking ahead to what's on our plates in the near future. Sarah, what have you got coming up in your busy schedule?
Oh, lots of the norm, lots of board games, lots of Lego, but I am super excited. Will and I have 2 opportunities right now to do co-designs with other people. And
oh, nice.
I am like so super excited about it because these other people have better connections than we do.
Nice.
I mean, it's not just that. These are people I've really wanted to work with. 2 of them are Sarah and John from our game design group. They've been trying to work on a game called Oolong for a while, and it just hasn't been clicking. And we actually got a chance to play test it a bit ago. And for better or for worse, Will figured out that it was deterministic. It's an abstract game. Basically, whoever goes first wins the game.
Oh, that's no fun.
Yeah, that's the problem. So they were like, well, what do we do with this? And Will's like, well, I have an idea. Do you want me to try working on it? And they were like, sure, do work on it, see what happens. And so I don't want to get too much into it, but we changed it around a bit so that the abstract part that we liked is now an action selection mechanism instead of this is how you win. This is how you manipulate things so that you can win. So it's really cool. And we showed it to them a couple Saturdays ago, and they liked the direction we were going with it. So we got some good feedback from them. And so we're moving forward with that. And I'm hopeful that it'll work out so that they like where we're going with it and we can all polish it up together. I mean, they have great graphic design skills, and the fact that they go to a lot of conventions and work with some companies, they're more likely to find a publisher for it than Will or I. But that means that hopefully then all our names go on the box.
Nice.
Yeah. And then another friend of ours, I'm keeping this a little bit on the down low, but he came to us.
Oh, it's just you and me, Sarah.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
nobody else is going to hear this.
Oh, yeah,
right?
sure. Nobody else. Not at all. He came to us and he's like, I have this idea for a game. It's just an idea, but I was encouraged to follow it. But you 2 are the best people I can think of for the job because it's a board game design about using Lego to build buildings.
Oh, how cool.
And here's the thing. Will and I could have made a board game about Lego or using Lego way before now. But we know it's not a viable pitch. 1, Lego pieces themselves are expensive. 2, Lego as a company will not talk to you. They won't talk to anybody. They're so over the board game whole thing because they did it several years ago and failed doing it. So they're not going to go there. Then that means that you as a company or whoever you pitch it to, that company would have to contract with a third-party brick maker, which is super expensive. So we just weren't going to go there. But I'm happy to say this guy was encouraged by somebody at a company that we feel would actually have the viability of making this happen.
Nice.
So we are busy working on that. We sourced a bunch of Lego from our collection, did a Bricklink order for the rest of it. And so we're starting to, we actually had to literally play with the Lego first to get a feel for it, to see what was too much, what was too little. And so Will's been working on how to balance the cards. But yeah, the general idea is you have location tiles that help you collect the different types of Lego pieces in the game. And you have a blueprint in front of you that tells you what requirements there are, but it could be you need 2 brown bricks, you need a piece that has 4 studs on it, but in the game we have bricks and plates that have 4 studs, so you have choices. So the whole thing is that there's these requirements, but they still allow you to be creative, because when you collect all these pieces, it doesn't tell you how to build it. You just need to put them together. So you get to use your creativity to build whatever you want it to be. I mean, building like, so, because the whole point is you're building up this town to be Bricktopia, which is our current working title. And my current sub slogan thing is building a better brick society, building. So
I like it.
Anyway, so I'm really excited about that because that's also another thing where I've been wanting to work with this guy for a while. He's really cool. It just hasn't been any opportunities. And again, he has connections. So we're going to be working with him. Obviously, it's not just Will and I designing it, but we're starting the process. And then he's going to, jump in and help us. And then he can take it and go run with his connections to hopefully make it a thing that is real.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on that. That's exciting.
Oh, it's very exciting. But you have exciting news too, huh?
I do. Listeners to the show will hopefully remember that I had mentioned that I was starting a nonprofit with the help of many, many friends, including Sarah and Will. And we decided that because we had the podcast called Our Turn, we were going to call this organization Your Turn.
Mm-hmm.
And so Your Turn got its nonprofit status back in November, which was very exciting.
Yes.
And in March, I sort of formally donated Our Turn to Your Turn, to the board of directors of Your Turn. And so it is now officially a part of Your Turn community game events.
Awesome.
And that means that it's going to be a production of Your Turn events starting April 1st, which it's now May 16th.
Yeah.
And that also means that any donations to Our Turn, including through the Patreon campaign, now can potentially be tax deductible because it's all going to a nonprofit organization.
That's awesome.
And so anything that's donated to the podcast is still going to pay the expenses of doing the podcast. But any profit after that, any money over and above that goes into Your Turn events.
Nice.
To help us put on events in the Sacramento area. The whole idea is to help diversify the gaming community in the Sacramento area. We're trying to get more women involved, more people of color involved, more people from the LGBTQIA community involved. And in fact, we have some exciting news on that front as well. We just brought in 2 new members of our board of directors, and both of them are trans women.
Oh, awesome.
So, we're excited that they are going to provide us with some connections into the LGBTQIA community here in Sacramento. And even more exciting on top of that, one of them is an accountant, which we were looking for.
Yeah, it's going to help.
Because none of us are accountants, and we want to make sure that we do everything on the up and up and
stay solvent.
Exactly. But yeah, we're really excited that Laura Ann and Pauline have joined our little board of directors. And we've got a lot going on. We're trying to put on regular events. We had one scheduled for this Saturday, May 18th, but it was part of a community carnival for the North Sacramento Family Resource Center, and it was going to be at Natomas Park in South Natomas. And unfortunately, a big weather front moved in here and has just been pouring rain. My friend Amy said, "It's raining lions and tigers here."
Yeah.
Or no, she said lions and wolves.
Lion and wolves.
Here. Yeah. And it has just been, it pours rain and then the sun comes out. And then the sun goes away and it pours rain.
Yeah.
Just
it's
like
been
crazy.
Really weird.
Yeah. And very little sprinkling or just, normal steady rain. It's either sunshine or pouring rain.
Yeah.
So that got moved to June 1st, and we're not going to be able to participate in that carnival on June 1st because we've got 2 events going on June 1st.
Wow.
We have a fundraising garage sale going on. We're participating in the Fair Oaks Community garage sale.
Nice.
So we're gathering garage sale items. So if you're in the Sacramento area and you want to donate to our garage sale, just reach out to me. You can contact me through ourturnpodcast@gmail.com. And I will be happy to come and pick it up and give you a receipt that you can add to your taxes. And so that's going on June 1st. June 1st is also International Tabletop Day.
Awesome.
And friend and Your Turn member, founding member, one of them is Price Johnson, and he is putting on a International Tabletop Day event at the Milagro Center in Carmichael.
Nice.
And we're helping out with that as well. So June 1st is going to be a busy day.
Yeah, it is very busy, but it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Price's event goes from 9 to 9.
Woo.
And the garage sale goes from 8 to 1. So I'm going to be doing the garage sale in the morning and then going over to Price's and helping run that. And some people from Your Turn are going to go over and help him set up and run it until I can get over there. So busy, busy, busy.
Very busy. It's going to be a long day.
Yes. And then Mark and I are also adapting to new jobs. We're still working at the same place, but our jobs changed pretty dramatically. But it's kind of nice because now we're not doing tech support. We're doing sales. So we're actually talking to people who want to talk to us.
That makes a big difference.
It does. Yeah. It was funny in our training for this new job. They kept telling us, okay, remember, these people want to talk to you. So you can get over the PTSD of tech support. You know, where you would get call after call after call of angry people who are upset that their product isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're not dealing with that. We're selling these wonderful products to people.
Yes.
And any tech support calls that come in, we get to transfer it to the people who are now doing tech support.
Yep.
So anyway, that's what I've got going on. All right. So if people want to get a hold of you, Sarah, how would they do so?
Yeah, most often I'm on Twitter at EurogamerGirl. Again, I also run the Facebook page, Our Turn Podcast. I'm not as much on Board Game Geek, but you can find me as Silva Shadow, SilvaShado.
Nice. And you can reach me on Twitter, and that is at Our Turn Podcast, or in Board Game Geek. We have our guild number 2600. And you can also find our show notes online at ourturnpodcast.com/episode 108. Can you believe we're at 108?
Wow, this is mind-blowing. I mean, I know we hit 100, but it just, I guess, didn't quite sink in. So, yeah.
Even though we had that big gathering at your house, it didn't sink in.
No, I don't know why. I guess that was just such a fun day. I was like, woo! And now it's like, wow, 108. Woo! Well, here's to 100, or I guess it would be 92 more. At least.
Yeah. All right. Well, until next time, and on behalf of the entire Our Turn podcast crew, that was our turn.
Now it's yours.
Thank you for listening. This episode was recorded on May 16th, 2019, and is written and produced by Cathy Ford and Sarah Reed with assistance from Mark Ford. We want and encourage your questions, comments, and feedback. Please call 916-426-2873 and leave us a short voicemail, or send an email to ourturnpodcast@yourturnevents.org. Our theme music was composed by Adriana Crickle. Incidental music was provided by Purple Planet Music. Please check out our show notes to learn more about these talented artists. The material in this episode is copyrighted under Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License. If you want to learn more about the games discussed in this episode, please visit our website at ourturnpodcast.com/episode 108. You can find a list of the games along with links to their listing on BoardGameGeek.com. This podcast is a production of Your Turn Community Game Events. To find out when our next inclusive game day is, check out yourturnevents.org/calendar. We are also proud members of the Dice Tower Network. You can find out about other shows in the network like Every Night is Game Night, Tabletop Game Talk, or The Family Gamers by going to dicetower.com. Thank you for your support. If you like what you heard, please tell your friends about us.